There's one thing which has really quite surprised me and frustrated me to some extent since coming back to the UK from overseas a couple of years ago now, and that is the supermarket loyalty schemes. Now, pretty much every single supermarket, bar maybe one that I can think of, has some sort of supermarket loyalty scheme. So you have to sign up, albeit free of charge. You get given a card which you can use to get discounts on every single shop, or you can simply just download the app on your telephone and scan your loyalty number every time you shop, and then you'll get a discount. But what I've noticed is that these loyalty schemes are far from simple. They've all got their own quirks and their own requirements. And in fact, they are incredibly sophisticated now. And it's frustrating because if you don't do your research before you go shopping, you are quite likely to leave money sitting in the shop that you could otherwise save. So, in this video, I'd just like to go through some of the frustrations which I have experienced maybe over the last year or two with the UK supermarket loyalty schemes. So, some of the supermarkets have recently launched what I guess they would call personalized offers. So, they know precisely what you're buying on a week to week basis, and then they will put into your app products which you're buying frequently at a discounted rate, specifically, specially for you. But the catch is that you actually have to select these particular offers. You have to unlock these offers by pressing a button in the app before you shop to enjoy the offers. So I was in the supermarket recently, and when you're in the supermarket, especially if you are with children or you're in a bit of a rush, you don't necessarily think straight away about your app and the various discounts that you are sort of leaving on the table. So I was rushing around the supermarket, putting things into the trolley, and then I paid, scanned my app as usual. And as I was walking out, I suddenly realized that I had forgot to select the button in the app, which effectively approves and selects all of the various personalized offers with a discount that I was entitled to. And as it happened, most of the items in my trolley would have been eligible for a discount. But simply because I hadn't pressed the button in my app, I paid the higher price. And it was too late because I was already walking out of the supermarket. So that was obviously frustrating. I was in another supermarket recently as well. And I like to sort of chop and change between the supermarkets, the major supermarkets in the UK. And maybe that's a mistake. Maybe I should just stick with one, which is obviously what the objective is of their loyalty schemes. Anyway, so I went into this one particular supermarket and I think I spent over £75 and I was given a voucher for my next shop of if I spent over £75 next time, I would be given £7.50 off my next shop. Great, I thought I'll be coming back soon. So the next time I came back to this particular supermarket, I spent over £75 and I proudly brought my voucher out of my pocket, out of my wallet to show to the shop assistant to get the £7.50 off my shop, only to be told that the voucher had expired. So, once again, because I hadn't planned properly in advance of my shop, I hadn't checked out the vouchers and the expiry dates, I was too late. And had I known that, maybe I would have shopped a few days earlier to enjoy the discount. So the message really is that you have to be sort of very much on the money when it comes to planning your shop, which supermarket you're going to go to, which personalized offers you will enjoy. Make sure that you press the button to select the personalized offers. Make sure any vouchers that you've got are still in date. And generally, make sure that you've done your homework before you go to the supermarket in the first place. Most of the UK supermarkets will offer some sort of point based loyalty scheme. So the more points you get, the more money you get off your next shop. You can turn the points into vouchers. And that also extends into fuel, petrol, and diesel as well. So if you buy their diesel or fuel, you can also earn points. And then the supermarkets will also, depending upon the value of your shop, they will sometimes offer you vouchers to reduce the cost of your fuel. So I drive a car and I was recently given a voucher for a discount on the fuel. Great, I thought. And again, I stuffed the voucher into my car and I forgot about it. And when it came round to me filling up the car again, I suddenly remembered, great, I can go to whatever supermarket it was, use that voucher. And that's precisely what I did, only to be told that unfortunately the voucher had expired again. So a lot of frustration begins to creep in when you are leaving vouchers unused. And I think to some extent, the supermarkets are a little bit guilty of creating this stress. So they only put a very limited amount of time on these offers. And a lot of the onus really is on the customer to accept the offers as quickly as possible, to get back into the supermarket as quickly as possible, or to be buying the fuel in their petrol station as quickly as possible. And usually, I mean, I would say on average, you've only got about 1 week, possibly 2 weeks to get back and use the voucher. So, if you've been away on a holiday, if you've been to another supermarket, lo and behold, you've been to another supermarket in the interim time before you go back to the original supermarket, then the chances are your original offers and vouchers will be out of date. And this is going to sound like a really basic piece of advice, but I just have to come clean with this one. And that is that you must make sure that your mobile phone is fully charged before you go to the supermarket, because most of the supermarkets, in fact, all of the supermarkets, have their own app. And then you will scan the QR code in order to enjoy the discount. But only if your telephone is charged up and you have got enough battery. And I say that because when I went to the supermarket a few months ago, you guessed it, my battery ran out on my telephone. Therefore, I couldn't scan the app and I couldn't enjoy the discount. Now, there is one supermarket chain actually, which doesn't actually have any app and it doesn't have any loyalty scheme. And its attitude actually is just to offer the very lowest price right from the outset. And I have to be absolutely honest. For me, I love that way of shopping because I feel comfortable that they are trying to offer the best price straight away. There's no sort of gimmickry involved at all. And I know that I can't get a lower price by waiting for a voucher, charging up points on my telephone. It's just simple, old-fashioned, non-complicated shopping. That said, there is something mildly satisfying as well about actually playing the supermarket loyalty scheme game as well. Because I think if you're really sort of on the money and you know what you're doing, you are enjoying discounts that maybe other people are not enjoying. And you feel sort of quite clever and satisfied if you do actually manage to use that £7.50 voucher, or you do manage to charge up your points to the degree whereby you can get a nice sizable discount at some point in the future. And there is also a degree of satisfaction from looking at your app and thinking, wow, I've got maybe 20, 30% off items which I'm going to buy anyway. So there is a sort of dopamine hit as well, and a sense of self-satisfaction for actually playing the game, getting involved with it. And it does hook you to some degree, which is precisely what the supermarkets want to achieve. But with that comes a level of frustration. There definitely does need to be a level of planning and involvement for you to really make the most of all of the discounts which are available. Before making this video, I was reading about the amount of money that people can in fact save from these loyalty schemes. And I was quite surprised to read that if you are sort of completely up to date on all of these various discounts, you can save around about, depending upon the supermarkets you actually go to regularly, around about £500 a year. So that's definitely not something to be turning your nose up at. I think it doesn't really matter what country we come from. We all absolutely love a bargain. And I think at the heart of it is, we don't want to feel that we're missing out of having a good deal or a good price as well. And that is something that the supermarkets are tapping into. So I hope this video has given you just a slight sort of inclination into what it's like now shopping in the UK and what you really need to do to make sure that you really do capture those bargains and that you don't feel disappointed because you're perfectly entitled. Like everybody is entitled to enjoy these bargains and these discounts. But you just have to switch yourself on to what the schemes are that are available and make sure that you plan adequately before going to the supermarket to make sure that you get the very, very best out of your shop that you possibly can. Thank you so much for listening. And I hope this has given you a little bit more of an insight into what it's like living in the UK right now.